Good morning to one and all. Today I will going to discuss about the physical design of IoT. The physical design of an IoT system is referred to the things or devices and protocols that are used to build an IoT system. So, for example, I want to be build any one of the IoT system. Must and should I have to be requiring for the devices and protocols. So, what are the different types of device I want to be need, and what are the different type of protocols are to be used to communicating the one device to the another device. All these things or devices are called node devices, and every device has a unique identity that performs remote sensing, actuating, and monitoring work. The protocols that are used to establish communication between the node devices are the devices and server over the internet. So we want to be building any one of the IoT system, Internet of Things system. So must and should we have to be requiring the some devices and protocols. So that's the device must and should be an identity, unique identity can have it. So those devices can to be performing the remote sensing, actuating, and then do the monitoring work. And protocols, what is the need of the protocols for this the build of an IoT system? Those protocols are used to establish communication between the node devices and server over the internet. Now let us see what are the different devices we have to be take to build an IoT system. Things or devices are used to build a connection, process data, provide interfaces, provide storage, and provide graphics interfaces in an IoT system. So those devices we have to be used to be providing the interfaces and to be providing for the storage, providing for the graphical interfaces in the IoT system. So all these generate the data in the form that can be analyzed by an analytical system and programmed to perform the operations and used to improve the system. So what is the best example for this device? Or then there is the temperature sensor that is used to analyzing the temperature, generates the data from the location and that determined by the algorithms. Now let us see here. It is that in this diagrammatical representation of the what are the different devices we have to be using. So these are the different devices. There is the some of device we have to be using for the connectivities, and some device are the processors, some device are the audio or video interfaces, and then IO interfaces, memory interfaces, graphics, and storage interfaces. Now let us see one by one. Yes, the first one is the connectivity. So devices like USB host and Ethernet are used for connectivity between the devices and then server. So here it is that in this the connectivity having this the these are the two devices. What are those? That is the USB host and then Ethernet. These two are to be used to for the connectivity between the devices and then server. And the next one is the processor. A processor like CPU and other units are to be used to process the data. These data are further used to improve the decision quality of an IoT system. The next one is the audio video interfaces. An interface like HDMI and RCA devices are to be used to record the audio and video systems. And then the next one is storage interfaces. What are the storage interfaces? Here it is that things like SD, MMC, SDIO are used to store the data generated from an IoT device. And then IO interfaces. So that is the input output interfaces. To giving the input and output signals to the sensors and actuators, we use things like UART, SPI, CAN, etc. And these are the other things like DDR, that is the different RAMs, random access memories, the different versions of the RAMs, that is the DDR1, DDR2, DDR3, and GPU is the graphical processing unit are to be used to control the activity of an IoT system. So these are the different devices we have to be used to build an IoT system. Yes, these are the different devices. The next, so we are already discussed different types of devices and then different protocols we have to be used to communicating those devices. So what are the protocols we have to be used? Now let us see. These protocols are used to establish communication between the node device and server over the internet. It helps to send commands to an IoT device and receive data from an IoT device over the internet. So, what is the need for these protocols? These protocols are to be providing the communication between the one to other, one device to the another device. So, what is the use for here? It is mainly this one is to be sent to the command, send the commands to an one device to that, and then those commands have to be received by the another device over the internet. We use the different types of protocols that can to be present on the both server side and then client side, and these protocols are to be managed by the network layers like application, transport, network and link layers. Now let us see here it is that what are the protocols are to be coming under this each and every layer. So already we know about that the different TCP IP protocol layers are there. So actually in that the TCP IP protocol model, 4 layers are to be there. What are those? There is the one is for the application layer, there is the second one is the transport layer, the next one is the network layer and then link layer. So each and every layer can have that's the different types of protocols. Now let us see what's the protocols are to be there in that's the each and every layer and how they are to be providing the communication between the one to other, one device to the another device. Yes, now let us see here it is this the diagrammatical representation of the different protocols are to be there in this the different layers in this the TCP IP model. So these are the different protocols are there. This then the application layer can have that's the different protocols. There is a HTTP, COAP, Websockets, MQTT, XMPP, DDS and AMQP. And the transport layer can have that's the very major protocols. These are the TCP and then UDP protocols, and the network layer are to be there. These two protocols IPv4 and then IPv6, and the link layer can contain that's the Ethernet, that is the 802.3 and Wi-Fi, that is the 802.11 and WiMAX, and we already know about that's the 2G, 3G, LTE are the cellular protocols here it is that. So now let us see the one by one here it is that. In the application layer, in this layer have contained these 3 protocols. The first one is the HTTP, that is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this the Hypertext Transfer Protocol is a protocol that presents in an application layer for transmitting media documents. Okay, the mainly HTTP have to be using for to be transmitting the media documents. It is used to communicate between the web browsers and then servers. So it makes a request to a server and then waits till it receives the response, and in between the request server does not to be keep any data between the two requests. So mainly you have to be remember that it is used to communicating between the web browsers and then servers. The next protocol in this the application layer, that is the WebSocket. This protocol enables two-way communication between the client and a host that can be run on an untrusted code in a controlled environment. So means that there is the WebSocket mainly to be used by that's the web browsers. So this one can to be providing for the two-way communication between the client and then host. The next protocol in this the application layer, that is the MQTT. It is a machine to machine connectivity protocol that was designed as a subscribing message transport or to be publishing a message transport. It is used for remote locations. It is used for that's the remote locations. Yeah, the next layer is the transport layer. That's the transport layer can contains the two types of protocols. That is the one is for the TCP protocol and then UDP protocol. Already we know about that's the difference in between that's the TCP and then UDP. TCP is a transmission control protocol. It is a connection oriented protocol. That is the UDP is an user datagram protocol. That is the connectionless protocol. The transmission control protocol is a protocol that defines how to establish and maintain the network that can exchange data in a proper manner using the internet protocol. So we want to be transmit the any data, or we want to be exchange the any data, so must and should to be establishing the connection, and that's the TCP. Then UDP, next one is the UDP. A user datagram protocol is a part of the internet protocol. It is a connectionless protocol. This protocol does not to be required to establish the connection to transfer data. Okay, does not to be required to establish the connection to transfer the data. The next layer is that network layer. The network layer can contain these two protocols, that is the IPv4 and then IPv6 protocols. So these IPv4 and IPv6 protocols has a host identification that transfers data in form of packets. So IPv4, this is the protocol address that is a unique and a numerical label assigned to each device connected with the network. So this the IPv4 address is a 32-bit long. IPv6 is a successor of IPv4 that uses 128 bits of IP address. So these two protocols has an host identification that transfers the data packets. The next one is the link layer. So that's the link layer protocols mainly to be used data over the network's physical layer. Actually that's the link layer is nothing but that's the combination of the physical layer and then data link layer. So it also determines how the packets are coded and signaled by the devices. So here in this the link layer can contains the two types of protocols. One is for the Ethernet and the second one is for the Wi-Fi. So it is first one is Ethernet. Ethernet is nothing but that is a LAN. It is a set of technologies and protocols that are used to primarily in LANs. So it defines the physical layer and the medium access control for the wide area networks. The last one is the protocol is Wi-Fi. It is a set of LAN protocols and specifies the set of media access control and physical layer protocols for implementing the wireless local area networks. So these are the different protocols are to be coming under the different layers. So once we want to be build an IoT system, we want to be require the different things or devices and then protocols. Thank you.